So let's switch gears. I look forward to getting your take on this. You mentioned what's going on with Jimmy Dore. So here, hold on. Let me back up the video here. So
he's the devil incarnate because he wants to give people healthcare. It's just this is incredible from this side of the Atlantic watching on.
See, that's what I can't wait to talk to you about. So for anyone not in the know, and I'm sure most of you already know this, but Jimmy Dore, and we covered this on the show. I've also been on the Jimmy Dore show talking about this with Jimmy directly. He came up with the plan that what progressives should do is they should say, hey, Nancy Pelosi, we're not going to vote for you for Speaker of the House unless you give us a vote on Medicare for all. And that puts Medicare for all in the spotlight. That forces a vote on it. That makes all the people who are against Medicare for all, that forces them to vote against healthcare during a pandemic. It forces them to do that. That's putting some fire under people's bellies, folks. That's really fighting the fight. So Jimmy's been encouraging people to do that. Other people have covered that story. Jimmy's been spreading the word. He's appeared on other shows. Other shows and channels have covered it. It's really generated a lot of steam. Mark Pocan from Wisconsin had to respond to it directly. Of course, he doesn't want to do it, and he gave a bunch of bullshit excuses why he doesn't. And Justin, what's Justin's last name? I
do know this.
Yeah, I feel bad. I'm blanking on his last name. He's an awesome guy. Justin Jackson from the Chargers. He's a professional football player. He's also a big lefty and an activist, and he started tweeting about it. AOC responded to his tweet, and then after AOC responded to him directly, Jimmy's trended on Twitter. So Jimmy Dore was trending on Twitter on Sunday, and that's what's going on here. Here's a video Matt Orfala made. Matt Orfala is a great video maker.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, let's watch this. This is a fantastic video.
We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all.
That's garbage. You can do it right now. We need 15 Democrats.
Hi, Jimmy.
We need the elected officials that you helped get elected to tell Nancy Pelosi that you will not vote for her as Speaker unless Medicare for all is put on the House floor for a vote.
I think it's a really smart idea.
You know, the worst abuse of power, Crystal, is not using the power you have to fight for people.
Will they? Time to let AOC know they have no other option because we're watching and we see through their bullshit excuses.
We have to put public pressure on them.
I want to see who's going to vote against healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. If you're not going to do it now, you are never going to do it, you phony.
All the people who filled up your voicemail, they're going to remember whether you did the right thing here.
Which side are they really on? This is where you force progressive House members to reveal who they answer to. Do they answer to their constituents or do they answer to the party bosses? Listen to AOC's own words.
The Democratic Party does not do more unless it is pushed.
And so this moment is the great unmasking.
Force it to happen.
Ask them, are you fighters or are you careerists? Are you activists for the people or are you posers on Twitter?
Everyone's going to try to tell you that if you're just a little bit nicer, then it'll be fine. No.
The whole point of protesting is to make people uncomfortable. You got to make them uncomfortable. She's pretending to be part of a movement when she's really running cover for Nancy Pelosi. Do you think anybody voted for you so you could vote Nancy Pelosi without getting them anything? This is Medicare for all. People's actual lives depend on us doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's your chance to actually use your leverage. Will you?
Take risks.
Or will you be a party fucking climber?
Start bringing the ruckus on the Democratic Party. Force it to happen. Do not trust any political party to automatically work in your interest.
I call on everybody in independent media to join this mission.
Force it to happen.
Force the Congress to show which side are they really on. No vote for Nancy Pelosi unless Medicare for all is put on the House floor for a vote.
So we need to push them.
We can't even
listen to AOC. Listen to her.
Listen
what she's saying.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic.
Yeah, he has a really good way of taking a rhetorical event and making a 2-minute video that explains the whole thing perfectly. He's a very talented dude. Oh, and I'll mention real quick that voicemail comment that was me. It was yeah. So thank you for including me, Matt. Thank you. I am very humbled and flattered to be included. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, I want to know, Gordon, from your side of the aisle as a non-American, is it controversial to demand your elected officials who ran on getting everyone health care? Is it controversial to demand that they use their leverage to help everyone get health care? Is that controversial?
There's a great MP, there's a great politician, great guy actually. He's in media right now. He's on RT a lot. You all know who his name. What is his name? His name's George Galloway.
Yeah,
and he's a great man. He came and showed a few senators a few home truths during the inquiry into the Iraq War a while ago. You may have seen on the social media. He did a great speech where he tore a few senators apart. He's a fantastic man, and if you look back at his history over 20, 30 years, he's been on the right side of things. And he's been standing at basically every election there is in this country for the last decade. Ever since he lost his seat, I think he's standing up in Scotland at the moment to try and oust one of the SNP people who broke COVID rules and lost their seat. He stood in West Brom, not far from me, in the last election, desperately trying to get back into the House of Commons. Do you know why, Ron?
Why?
Do you know why? We've got about 650 MPs over here, and so the vote, if the vote's close, it's usually about 320, because Sinn Féin and whatever don't take their seats. Judge Galloway says this: I want to be the 641st vote in the House of Commons because I want to be in a position of power where I can get something in return. When Jimmy Dore says this is politics 101, I don't know much about politics, but I know this. You don't give anything without demanding something. And right now, all the power is with AOC, and all the power is with them. They've got this. They can say, no, you're not. We don't care. Do you remember what the Tea Party did? The Tea Party just went, no, we're going to bugger off. And they got their own way, didn't they? Well, yes. This is what they need to do. And I distinctly remember, I was giddy when AOC got elected. I was giddy. I thought she was fantastic. I was too. Great. And I distinctly remember her speeches where all these, her and the clan or the bloody group or the whatever they call themselves. I think they wear kilts. But we're going to go there and we're going to kick down chairs and we're going to knock down tables. And it's like, no, you're not. You're going to go there and you're going to say, hi, Mama Bear. You're pathetic. You joke. You were tasked with going there and causing a ruckus. Like she said, let's bring the ruckus. And you've gone there and you've rolled over and you've gone, tickle my tummy. It's ridiculous. Here is your chance to stand up for what's right, to actually push for what you bloody ran on in your own constituency. Wasn't Medicare for all what she ran on, for Christ's sake? It's like, here's your chance to at least get people on record to say, no, I voted against Medicare for all, because then you can primary them and you can target them. And this is how politics works. Watching from this side of the Atlantic, it's like, what is going on over there? It's like Keystone Cop sort of stuff. And the media are just facilitating it because they just keep speaking whatever other bollocks that they can, rather than the stuff that we talk about, which is the real issues. And this is why you've got to support independent media and turn that shit off. It's just balls. It really is. They're not telling CNN, MSNBC, Fox, the lot of them. None of them are telling you the truth. It's all their version of it. It's incredible. When you were in the 90s, Ron, there were 26 channels or news. There were so many different places you could go, newspapers that set their outlets. They all had basically the same sort of news that they would. Now you go one place or another, they cover the same story. And it's like, there's 3 different versions of this. How can anybody come from a basis of fact? And the facts is, well, AOC, there you go. There's a video by off there that just proves what a hypocrite you are, because you were tasked with going and doing exactly what Jimmy is pushing you to do. And as far as all the other sycophants that are jumping on the AOC bandwagon and saying, yeah, never forget Jimmy. Well, never forget this. You attacked attacked a real progressive, somebody who has a history of being on the side of people, of working class people, you attack that person. Why? Because he wanted to wanted people to force a first ever vote on universal health care during a pandemic. Don't ever forget that. These people who are attacking him right now, they're not your friends. You know why? Because I'm betting that they've got bloody good health care. And from somewhere where everybody gets healthcare, from a country where everybody gets coverage, it's despicable. It's just despicable. You've got a for-profit healthcare system, and you are the ones that are suffering, and they are gaslighting you by telling you that Jimmy Dore's the problem here. He's not. They're the problem, and you've got to stand up and tell them and force them to get this vote through. You've really got to force them to do it, because it doesn't look like AOC is going to do anything if you don't pressure her to do it.
Yeah, they don't want to, and it's because they don't want to rock the boat and make their colleagues mad. And it's like, but guess what? We supported you. I mean, people are making it. A lot of people who are some of the naysayers that you're pointing out, they're making it about personality. They're making it about like, well, AOC, she's trying. AOC's not one, but it's like, well, yeah, because this is what AOC ran on. This is why she got the support that she did. So the expectations of her and the Progressive Caucus is higher. And this is what they ran on. So this is what we're demanding. All we're demanding is what they freaking ran on. Yeah. And yeah, we're asking for something bold from them. But if you're not
doing is what they told you to do as well. To hold their feet to the fire and demand that they do it.
And if you're not willing to take a bold action, you shouldn't have applied for the freaking gig. You shouldn't have applied for the gig. Like, yeah, we're asking for something bold. We're asking you to piss off some of your colleagues. Yeah, we're asking you to do that. That comes with the freaking job. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not qualified for the job you want to have.
I agree, mate. I really do. And people they've got to force them to do it. It's only people that are going to force them to do it, because they're not going to do it. You're going to have to do it. People are going to have to do it. And, people keep saying to me, what can we do? My only thought is just get it organized, just organize and turn off the media, because they are lying to you. And you've got to force them to do what it's incredible, Ron. I've said this to you before. You've got President-elect Biden there, who's coming in, and I watched one of
everything, Gordon.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, sure he is. Yeah, he's gonna. Anyway, he did one of the Democratic debates. They were talking about Medicare for all, and he was there with Biden. Number one, here's the deal, and all those shit. And he put his hands out. Nobody says how much it's going to cost. And I'm sitting here half the world away, pissed on half a bottle of vodka watching it, because it's the only way I could sit through it. And I'm saying, Joe, it's going to cost half as much. Look at every other country, westernized country around the world, for crying out loud. Malaysia has got healthcare, universal healthcare. I think all these countries that you go, oh, look at them. They're a third world country. They've got healthcare. This is...
I know, and from your perspective, it has to be so. I mean, there are so many people I've talked to in other countries where it's like, and some of them who may not follow politics as closely as you do, and stuff like that. Like, to them, it doesn't even make sense when you explain what we have. No. They're like, wait, what? Like, they're just like, it works how? And
it happened to me. It happened to me in 2008 when I came to America. I met some great people. Americans are fantastic. It's really, I didn't realize until America when Americans say to you, have a nice day after they spoke to you, they really fucking mean it. Have a nice day after they spoke to you. But anyway, I met some fantastic people, one of which was...
What does it mean when you guys say it? What does it mean when you guys say have a nice day? That's not...
Usually like, have a nice day. We usually say something like that sarcastically, Hey, you have a nice day. Make sure the door doesn't smack you on the way out. Anyway,
Well, so wait, time out. When you're sincere, what would you say then? Like, when
we're British. We don't tell people to have a nice day.
Wouldn't you just be like cheers or something? I mean, you guys say cheers a lot, which I like. That's very smooth. I dig it. Like, cheers. Like, that's sincere when you do it, right?
Yeah, we'd probably just call each other the C word and go on our merry way. I don't. But I mean, I met a singer, and who's somebody who had healthcare, and somebody who then had a healthcare issue, and still had to pay £6,000 out their own pocket. Had to go and go fund me for the deductible, and this is somebody who's having to take a second job and not follow their dreams. Somebody extremely talented as well. And I remember coming over there and him explaining to me that no, we've got a for-profit healthcare system. It's like, wait, so you don't look after people, you look after profits? How's that going? It's how's that going? Seriously, because that's not going. You're going to create a system in a capitalist system where the most sociopathic and psychopathic amongst us are the ones that actually are the ones that propped up. You're going to put those people in your healthcare system. How's that going? And this was 12 years ago. And I remember him pushing and saying, oh, maybe one day. And it's 12 years later and you're still no closer. I'll tell you why you're still no closer. Because you haven't forced people like AOC to do what you tasked her to do. They got in there. They forgot all the promises that they made. They've got wonderful healthcare, these Congress people have. Wonderful.
Yeah, they do. And this is American politics, because you can go as far back as FDR, and every single time the government has actually done something that benefited the people, it's because they were in a corner and they had no other option, because they're owned by corporations. They're owned by Wall Street. So that's who they serve. They're a corporate coup. So the only time you get something is when you back them up into a corner, and they have no other choice. That's why we got a New Deal. We didn't get a New Deal because FDR was like, I'm a nice guy. We got a New Deal because FDR did at least have the foresight to be like, hey, rich friends, see all those people out there? They're really pissed. So we're either going to give up a little or we're going to give up everything, because we're not going to be able to hold the freaking doors. So you decide. Do you want to give up a little or do you want to give up everything? You're like, we'll give up a little. Like, all right, great. And that's why we got a New Deal. So, I mean, that's just how it goes in this freaking country. You need a movement. You need to be organized. And we have a work culture that makes sure, or not makes sure, but does everything they can to stop that from happening. Keep people suppressed so they're one paycheck away from not being able to afford rent or groceries. And then they're not going to be able to strike. Then they're not going to be able to protest. Then they're not going to be able to make demands. We got to figure out a way to make those demands anyway. And this is one action that gets there.
It's a really good point that you got there, mate, because, one of the reasons that this for-profit healthcare has got you by the balls, you can't protest about it because you'll lose your job, and your job is obviously where your healthcare comes from. They do the same thing, from what I can tell, with the education system in America, because if you're poor in America, the only education you're really going to get is if you're going to be going in the army, and that's the way they the education, without obviously coming out of it with a huge debt, obviously. And I do feel that if it isn't by design, that it's a bloody happy accident, isn't it? Well,
yeah.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your